That's right. Another episode of the Toter Tales.
I'm from Oklahoma.
Brought to us by our good friends, ERS Gunite. My boy Tyler Boston, man. 972-935-5769. I love that song.
You do?
You want to know why I love that song?
Is it just the start? The start gets me.
Because that means Will Lummus. It's another episode of the Toter Tales. Will Lummus, my guest today. Thank you so much for being here, for one.
You
We
bet.
appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Two, I want to say, you've won Calgary. You've won everything. You know, like you've done everything that you can really do in life. And now you've made the Toter Tales. Congratulations, you have finally made it.
I appreciate that.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's right. The Toter Tales brought to us by my man Tyler Boston. Can't say enough good about him. He owns a gunite business in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He poured a job. It was like 300 yards of concrete. He built a swimming pool that looks like an entire, I don't even know, like a swim park.
Interesting.
It's amazing the stuff he can do. And he shoots a lot of stuff in his, like, in all of the plants and stuff. Whatever you need, recreationally. If you need it commercially, 972-935-5769. Check him out. Without Tyler Boston, there never would have been a Toter Tales, because I would have never tried this. But now here I am with my man, Will Lummus. I'm so excited. Thank you again for being here. Everybody knows you as a steer wrestler.
Yep.
Year's going great once again. I loved it when I saw you at Sheridan, Wyoming the other day. Was it a 4-peat or 3-peat?
Three-peat.
Three-peat champion at the Sheridan Wyoming Rodeo. What is it? The Wyo? The Wyo.
Yeah.
At the Wyo Rodeo, 3-time champion, my man here. And we were going to lunch.
Yeah.
And your whole rig, you have a goal. And what's that goal by the end of July?
Yeah, make the NFR or have
80,000.
Have 80,000 one. Yeah, by August 1st was our plan. It's going to end up taking a little more than that, I think, this year. But yeah, that was a good goal for us to have. And
I mean, for the most part, the rig got through it.
I mean, Ty and I, we definitely got it done. And actually, both of us got to 100 before August 1st, which was, really close. We were in the 90s before August 1st.
I was in the 90s when the 90s wasn't cool. You know what I mean?
I was in the 90s.
You know, I
made them cool.
I had a recent birthday, and
I got to back that up. Sorry.
No, I did. You know, I had a recent birthday the other day, and I got carded. the other day.
That's impressive.
We stayed at a casino hotel deal in Deadwood, and they carded me. And I was so excited. I was like, thank you so much. And now it's so sad because as soon as they look at it and it says 19 anything, you know what I mean? They don't have to look at the year. If it says 19, that's how old we are. How long you been rodeoing?
Did you have your luscious locks hung out?
Yes.
Is that why they did it?
Honestly, that's probably why.
Yeah.
I think she more wanted personal information from me. I mean, let's be
Your
honest.
address
When
is
I
on
let
there.
this have it, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
How many years does this make for your rodeo now, Will?
This is my 7th year. I started in 17.
2017.
2017.
And you're a team roper by nature.
I mean, I dabble. I was a calf roper by nature.
Really?
Yes, that's kind of what I had, honestly, all my success in high school. And I did good in the steer wrestling too. But like as far as nationals go, I always did better in the calf roping. And even at the college finals, I actually won 4th in the nation one year in college.
In calf roping?
And I figurated my short round calf's tail, yeah.
Or else we win first.
But yeah, that was always my dream, was to be a calf roper, and then steer wrestling just kind of happened for me, and then I dabbled in team roping. So I feel like you were pushing that on me.
No, I'm telling you, I've watched you rope the dummy, and like you handle a rope so good. And it's so impressive. And but I tell you what, anymore, there's so many cowboys in every event. I think. I mean, the guys that steer wrestle, your whole crew can rope. Ty, he was a calf roper.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about your crew real quick. You got Ty Erickson, Clayton Haas, obviously won 2nd at the World Time Event Championship.
A couple times, yeah.
Ty Erickson was also aspiring calf roper.
Made the college finals.
Amazing. So how did you? Okay, so let's back up. High school, with junior high school rodeo, all that. When do we really start steer wrestling? Like, were you always a big, stout, burly, sexy fella like you are now?
Man, I like it.
Or,
my uncle was a steer wrestler. He made the finals a handful of times. Bob Lummus.
And he had Joe Beaver hazing.
And Joe Beaver was hazing. He and Bill Pace and Joe all rodeo together. That was before all the buddy system thing happened. You could buddy with whoever.
I got you.
So they all rodeo together, and he hazed for Bill and Uncle Bob. So I mean, I always knew I was going to steer wrestle for sure. I never was real big, and actually, my dad and uncle made me wait until my sophomore year of high school to start bulldogging.
Now, how big were you then?
Honestly, then I was still under 200 pounds. I mean, I was 180 pounds probably then.
But still 6'5", 6'4".
No. That's what I was saying. Like my junior year is when I started growing. So my senior year, I graduated at, I was about this size, a little lighter. I was about 6'2", 230 when I graduated high school. And just that my senior year was when I really started growing and getting bigger and started enjoying steer wrestling, and still loved roping calves and did all the way through college. But it started, I was blessed to have some good horses, some good steer wrestling horses. And they're easier, in my opinion, to come by than really good calf horses.
That's good.
So that was where I just kind of ventured off to. And I had a great teacher in my uncle.
Absolutely.
I had hands down one of the best upbringings to be a professional steer wrestler that I ever could. Because my dad Hayes is amazing.
And did your dad? Did he steer wrestle too?
No, my dad actually rode bulls. My dad's a little fella. Gonna be 5'9" or 10. Gonna weigh 200 pounds, 195 pounds. So yeah, dad was always a bull rider all the way through the early to mid 80s. And then Uncle Bob was steer wrestling coming up through then, and then started IPRA rodeoing and won the world in IPRA in '89. And then shortly after that, his first trip to NFR was '92. So then he kind of started into
Beautiful
PRCA.
little segue there, because IPRA rodeo is so huge where we're from.
Right.
Yep. Oklahoma, that back east.
Yep.
I think that's why they create so many beasts from the east in this team roping. But IPRA, actually, little side note, I can't wait to have him on my couch one day, but Joe Beaver had the IPRA not taken his points away for some, they say it's a nonsense rule infraction. I was never there, but had he not done that, he would not have went and bought his PRCA card. Because back in the day, you could make a sizable amount of money IPRA rodeo and stay closer to home and still
absolutely.
make a living.
Yeah, for sure.
So we never have heard of Joe Beaver in the PRCA if the IPRA did not take away his points.
Well, shame on them. Their loss, I guess.
And so, did we play any other sports, high school?
Yeah,
middle
man.
school? Obviously, I'm going to think football, gymnastics.
Yeah, actually, I did do gymnastics. I was a very young tot. But I did do gymnastics. Don't know if it had anything to do with my ADHD and my mom just put me in there because I was so wild and she wanted me tired. Now that I'm old enough to realize that that's probably what it was. But yeah, I loved baseball. I played baseball. That was always my favorite. I played football to get bigger and stronger and faster. And I loved football too. But if I went back, I would focus more on baseball. And I still love playing. Actually, we went to the college finals this year. They always have the softball tournament at the college finals. They had 2 coaches teams this year.
Coaches team.
And I called Corey Ross and I said, I don't know if there's a draft, but I need to be in it.
I want in it.
And yeah, man, I took Kyle Whitaker for a walk-off to win the game. That was a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. I hope he watches or listens because that one felt really good. Yeah, thank you. All right. Thank you. So anyways, yeah, I love everything. I like playing basketball. I'm not very good.
Aren't team sports so important to learn? Like
Yeah,
as a
absolutely.
kid.
Yeah.
My daughter is just starting soccer. In fact, her first practice is this week. And I just think that a structured team organization, you know what I mean, in any capacity,
Yeah,
is so important for kids.
I think so too. It really
See, I
is.
actually wanted to be a wrestler, right? Like that was my thing. I don't know why.
Okay.
2nd grade, takedown club. Miami takedown club. And you got the T-shirt, and it was so cool. But you know what I mean? All the cool kids had the Miami takedown, baby.
I understand.
What are you in?
Hey,
Takedown
man.
club. You know what I mean?
Mississippi didn't have wrestling.
So
And,
I'm
you know,
so excited. My mom takes me to the first practice because there was like hey, bring your kid, let them try it. If they like it, they can stay, right?
Right.
So we do like the normal little practice, and it's fun. Like I'm wanting the shoes. I mean, I'm digging all of it. I mean, how good would I look in a singlet? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest.
That's not. I mean, in my opinion, I'm just not even going to put anything. Just going. But I understand. I mean, whatever.
Did you imagine this mane flowing?
The main, yes.
2nd grade.
The
knee,
rest of it,
rolling. 2nd grade Coleman. I mean, confidence everywhere.
So nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we had the normal practice, and it's fun. We had a good time. Learned a few little things. You know what I mean? The single leg takedown, this and that. And then you could stay for the advanced class if you wanted to. I'm in 2nd grade. I smile a lot. I'm a happy kid. And I'll never forget, I was smiling, and the coach made me run laps. And the most embarrassing moment of my young childhood, before I could even get the Miami Takedown T-shirt, my mom stops me on the 2nd lap, grabs my hand, and walks me, not like quietly out the side, across the mats, saying, I'll be damned if my boy's going to be a part of something he can't smile. And that's how my wrestling career ended right there.
She was just protecting her baby, Cole.
I know, and that's why I laugh now. Everybody's like, "Hey, why are you so happy all the time?" Because I'm scared to death. My mom's gonna come out and grab me by the hand, walk me straight across the arena.
It is very important to smile, Coleman.
Oh, that's awesome. So you talk about luscious college career, great, and now we're back coaching, getting back to the kids.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Man, it's cool. It's when it first kind of came about in July of last year, I didn't know if that was something I really wanted to do, and the more I thought about it, and it just was something that I really thought that I would enjoy doing. The more I thought about it, and I thought that I could help a lot of kids, because I think there's a lot of really good coaches, but I don't think there's enough coaches that have actually gone down the road, rodeoed for a living, learned the School of Hard Knocks, all that stuff, And I had a lot of great teachers as I was rodeoing, Casey Jones, and now with Hash. You know what I mean? Like, I've had some really good mentors, but I think that I've learned a lot as well on my own that I can kind of give back, to some students, and even just on the mental aspect of it. You know what I mean? I don't think there's enough people talking about the mentality of being a winner, or just the mental game of when you're struggling, of being able to move on and move on to the next year. That's the hardest part in rodeo.
And that's the most important, because honestly,
100%.
we're going to lose. Like, you're having an amazing season, but I bet if we tallied it per steer, what you've run, I mean, at best, if we're hoping for 50-50 on
Right.
steers you've won on
Yeah.
steer versus steers you've lost on. So being able to balance the lows to maintain the highs.
Yeah. Well, and it's been a great season, but the last 3 or 4 weeks have been pretty slow. Which I went home last week because I had to do a lot of stuff at the college, but the 2 weeks before that, I broke a barrier this morning to split the round at Ellensburg, but it's just the last few weeks that I've been rodeoing have been pretty slow, but it's just being able to back in there and have the mentality to be able to try to win first.
So what do you tell a guy? Like, what do you tell yourself whenever the last few haven't gone great? What do you tell yourself when you're back in the box tomorrow or tonight or today?
Casey Jones was the best at that to me. He always, when we were riding in the box, he never said anything about bulldogging. It was always just do your job. Because that's what we're doing. This is our living. This is what we're doing for a living. So this is our job. And we've prepared. There's a reason we are where we are in the world standings. So all I need to do is just back in there. I know Benz is going to do his job. I know Clayton Hazen's going to do his job. It's all up to me. So if I do my job, it's going to work more times than it's not, more than likely.
Because I'm going to bulldog one day at the timed event.
Okay.
Right? I never got big enough.
Yes, you did.
Right here. Like this little spot.
that little
says,
spot. It's kind of like
that.
the Grinch.
Because at one time you were like, we're the same size. And I'm like, we're not the same size. We might weigh the
It's kind
same.
of like the Grinch,
close to
but
it,
when your heart grows, like
Right.
the Grinch's did, then
Yeah.
we'll try it.
When I'm about 42 and done heading for a living.
I feel like you're getting close.
38 the other day. But I was like, I would never want to run one on a horse like that. That makes them come to you that fast.
Yeah.
Like, holy.
Yeah, man, those horses that I just mentioned, man, they're definitely, they're amazing animals. And even Benz. And Benz is actually, my dad called me, or didn't call me. I saw him last week while I was home. And the last couple weeks, I have kind of gotten off a little late on a couple steers. And this time of year, steers are starting to let off. Just because they're older and they've got runs and they're
So when do you
trained
normally
and
try to get off? Like, when is your spot?
now we're getting off like the hip. I like to try to ride in there a little further, kind of in the middle, especially if one's not gonna let off at all. But now with the steers letting off, if they let off at all, you're hitting the horns and you haven't gotten any body on the steer at all. And that's the main thing is, and you got to think about it, and it's just physics, but if you're holding the saddle horn, you're still going as fast as the horse. So until you cut loose the saddle horn and get some body on the steer and get some friction,
That slows you down.
it's going to slow you down. So until you turn loose the saddle horn and get on the cow, then you'll be going as fast as the cow's going. So if you're just floating and you're holding the saddle horn, you hit them behind the head, you're going however fast Benz is going, which is fast.
Fast.
So, and it just kind of makes it more difficult. And honestly, when you hit them like that, it knocks them out of their tracks, knocks their head off.
Throws all the timing.
Whereas if you can get back to the shoulder and reach out in front of you and move their head, then you can spin them back and bust them. But it's just, and it's all timing. But it was something that I felt like I did really good today. I just clipped the barrier. But it felt, my run felt really good today. So
Isn't that, there's so much to be said. And even if a guy's struggling, even if a guy's winning, just making that good run. You can have a bad break. But like when things are going bad, you know what? This is a great opportunity.
Yeah.
For my signature living quarters moment. First of all, you've never been to the toter, but like this is all renewed right here. where those beautiful sliding doors are that you were complimenting earlier.
I was, yes.
That used to be a curtain, and it had 1,000 safety pins holding it
7,000.
together. And, Signature came in here, and they made it comfortable. They made it somewhere my wife's proud to go and actually show it off to people. So Signature Living Quarters, welcome home to Signature. Will Lummus, give me your signature living quarters moment. And what I want that to be is what you tell your college kids, or with this show, I hope, and I hope it catches people for life advice, but when things are down and it's rough, how do we pull out of that old...
I think it all goes back to your preparation. I really think it does. I think that if you prepare and you're mentally in a good place where you can tell yourself, hey, I prepared and I'm ready. I've had hell and it hadn't gone my way, but I prepared for this. I know I can do this. And then you just go do your job. It's honestly, it sounds so simple to say it, and it really is that simple.
It's just hard to go with it.
It's just hard to ride the roller coaster. It really is. And if you ride it too much and it stays down there, you know what I mean? So you got to be able to just mentally tell yourself, I'm prepared and I can do this. And I literally went home this past week. I ran the kids were running the steer saver at the college, and I ran it maybe 6 times. And I felt like, and you know this, I mean, at this stage in our career, we can rope a few steers and fix a problem. And I felt like I literally ran the steer saver 6 times, caught it off the horse saver, and I felt like I fixed my problem. But I think it all boils down to that preparation and just saying, and even if you have the opportunity to run a couple or whatever, if you have that opportunity to do that and then say, okay, I'm prepared.
I always talk about
and then
confidence is something we can't manufacture.
Agreed.
Like we can't just be like, you know what, today I'm going to be confident, by golly. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough.
You was kind, you was smart, and you was important.
I want to be in your guys' crew so bad. Like, I will never bulldog with you guys, but I want to hang out with you. That's what I do. But you can never manufacture confidence. But, man, you can manufacture clarity. You can keep your mind in the game. Because how many times at this point, the other day I told my wife, I said, I learned to rope when I was 12. Roping is not the problem. It's just 6 inches between my ears. It's a lot like my golf swing. You know why my golf clubs are terrible? Because I got too much loft. Lack of flipping talent. And in this heading, I figured out, a lot of times when I'm messing up, it's too much loft. Lack of focus on the target. Right?
I like
That's my
that.
deal.
I like
so it's
that.
like, how many times can a guy fix it in this 6 inches between your ears?
I mean, I think, infinitely. I mean, but it's something that you always have to work on. You're never going to be in the perfect mental state of mind.
I love that you say that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's never going to be perfect. It's an ongoing thing. It's just like taking care of your body or practicing or preparing or all of it. I mean, it's preparing your mind is just as important as preparing your body in the practice pen. I mean, it really is. And it's as easy as, and my Uncle Bob loves to do this, but he'll pull out $5, and if you think $5 ain't a lot of money, which it's really not anymore.
It is.
But when you got to run a steer,
token.
When you got to run a steer for $5, it changes things. You know what I mean? But I think that trains people mentally to just back in there, do your job.
It's your instinct.
Trust your preparation, back in there, do your job. And actually, the last time we did it, I caught a steer, and while I was catching the steer, I told him, you lost your $5 before my feet hit the ground. But I'm just like, that's where you got to be. You got to be able to be in the moment, focused, and trust your preparation.
I've never seen you mad. Like, and I'm sure that you have been, and I'm sure there's times like when a guy doesn't do good, but I've never seen you mad. And, I'm a guy that I can't get mad a lot. Like, I do get mad. Don't get me wrong. I was frustrated today. Like, today, I stuck it behind one's head to dang sure have a chance for the go-around. My horse did amazing. I'm apologizing to him on the way out the arena. Like, man, I'm sorry. You did awesome. I did bad. But I think what's so important is how quick you bounce back. Because if we get mad, right, and I'm this way at the house. Like, whenever I'm working on something, I've got a piece of equipment, how many times can you misthread a nut before you just lose your mind? You know what I mean? You're just like, I swear I know it's righty-tighty.
I saw something on Instagram the other day, and I'm not interrupting you, but I'm just saying there was a guy that missed a nail with a hammer, and he was fixing to throw his hammer, and his buddy was like, left-handed anger, and you throw like a girl because you can't throw the hammer as good. You know what I mean? I'm like, awesome. I need to start using that.
That's great stuff. But so many times, like, you get mad, and then the first thing that happens, there's a big reaction, and everything goes backwards for a second.
Yep.
Then you've blown your top, you've gotten your cool back, and now you can actually start addressing the issue. So what I learned was I can't do all that nonsense because I'm lazy and I want to get to it the fastest way I can. But like you said, you went home, you ran your steer saver 6 or 7 times. Like, you didn't go home irritated, frustrated, mad, cussing yourself. you got to be able to keep a clear mind to be able to break it down and figure out where things feel off. Because I think fixing feel anymore for me is important.
It's just the clarity of the run.
Yes.
And I've told my dad that before. You know, it seems foggy, and I've used that word a lot because when you get in the hole in the steer wrestling, there's a lot going on, and it needs to be clear. You know what I mean? But I have gotten in the hole and not remembered catching the steer's head.
Absolutely.
Or it's just foggy to me. You know what I mean? And that in that state is when I'm like, I need to run a couple.
Right.
Because then I can run 2, and it just clears right back up. You know, and not even have to make a good run, just getting off, catching the steer, and it just clears it all back up.
And that's what, for me in the head, and I relate it to, because when I say I can manufacture clarity, I can get focused, and I can observe the target through the whole run.
Right.
And usually when I do that, all of a sudden catching becomes easy again.
Exactly.
Because like your dad, my dad has infinite wisdom. He told me the other day, he says, son, let me tell you something now. They still got that damn catch rule. You got to catch them.
You got to catch them.
Doesn't matter how fast you throw it, you've got to catch the cow. And I'm like, you know
Dad.
what? Chief, that's genius. My dad also, I'm sure you were like me when you roped with your dad. You ever rope with your dad?
Yeah, I've roped with
Most
my dad,
pressure you'll ever have in your life. I'm a 10 healer.
Oh, yeah.
And I pride myself on my healing. Like I if we went and run 100 right now, I'd expect to catch 100. You let me run 1 behind my dad, that's getting a solid right front leg. You know what I mean? And because I think the thing that always got me with him was I was always dreading he would look at me and say, boy, son, I thought you'd have caught him. Funny thing, Chief, when I cut it loose, I did too.
I did.
When I was letting go, I had full intentions of it working. That's great. I love hearing that from a world-class competitor, guy that you've been on the brink of that gold buckle. It is happening. You know what I mean? You are going to win a world title. They can't keep you from it. And then I think and I want to ask this question just because we're buddies, and I feel like
We're fine.
the
Whatever you
toter
wanna
is
ask
the
me.
spot that.
This is a safe place.
And I
They
think
like to
that's
use
what
that
makes
now.
you such a competitor is you're not sensitive about talking about it. But
Right.
man, you've been so close now that I know of twice or 3 times.
3 times.
I mean, like close.
Yeah, second. 2 years in a row, second.
And you keep that as an encouragement. You don't let that become a deterrent.
So, yeah, Luke Branquino, after 17, I missed the finals by $4,600 or something. I was like 20th in the world. First year I rodeoed, had a great year. And I set my goal at 60,000 that year because never had it taken more than 60,000 to make the finals.
You are a goal setter.
I am a goal setter. I'm very goal oriented. And I'm not necessarily a goal. I'm not like I want to make the national finals this year. Okay, well, how are we going to do that? Let's set those goals.
Right.
Let's
You
set
gotta
the little
start-
goals
Yes.
to get to the big goal. And that's where I'm at on goals. But, you know, Luke Branquino, when I missed him that first year, and he did too his first year, he was 16th. And he texted me that next week, a couple days after the season ended, and he said, use this to motivate you, not destroy you. You had
Wow.
a great year, but I won $66,500. I met my goal. It took 70, whatever. It was 4,600 I missed him by. So it took a little over 70,000, right at 71,000 to make them. And I just, but it was close. And I had rodeos at the end, and I went to them and didn't win. But it was amazing when he texted me that because I was like, I was actually sitting in Kansas City at the airport fixing to fly home. And I was entered at a couple more, but it wasn't
enough to get you.
numerically possible. It wasn't mathematically possible. So I went home, and of course, Dad was like, "No, you need to finish." But I was done. I was tired.
Well,
But when he texted me that, I was like, you know what? Because right then you're beating up on yourself. You
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
You're thinking back of 365 days of decisions.
Well, and there was, that year I broke a barrier at Denver on my second one to make the short round. I broke a barrier on my second one at Fort Worth to make the short round. There were so many times that I had chances for $4,600. I didn't get a flag at Red Bluff that I was supposed to get that year, and I still think about those times, but I use them to motivate me.
I like that.
So like I had played that year at Red Bluff. Mike Todd didn't flag me on my second one. I still have the video on my phone. I had placed on my first one, and I did throw the heck out of my second one. He said I didn't have a hand on him, but I rolled him all the way over to his other side, and I didn't get the flag. And that's part of rodeo. And
that's
fine.
a great spot for me to ask this. My dad taught me a long time ago, the judge is always right, even if he's wrong, because he's the one with the flag in his hand.
Yep.
And that's breaks of rodeoing.
It is.
Like, especially nowadays with all the social media, and they just want to crucify people for, is this a crossfire or not? Did it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This and we all watched Luke Branquino miss out on a gold buckle by, was it George Gibbs at the national finals?
Yeah, something, man. Yeah.
And I'm not, we're not trying to throw names out here, but you know what I'm saying?
No,
like, those
yeah.
breaks happen.
Oh, it happens. Well, and And you can see Scott Quick was flagging this morning at Ellensburg, and there were lots of times where he could have dropped the flag early, and steers just barely hit on a leg. It seems like they're more focused now.
Right.
It seems like, I mean, there were multiple times Scott could have had a bad flag this morning, and he was waiting for it. But he's waiting on everybody.
That's the main thing.
You know what I mean?
Consistency.
I don't care if you're half a second late flagging the
Just
run.
don't get quick at the
But
end.
flag me half a second late, flag you half a second late, but just flag them consistent. And that's all we can wish for and hope for. But I do think
they are humans.
They're doing I think they're paying attention more, or focusing maybe more on the run itself.
But you were on a great point. What doesn't motivate you? Let it motivate you, not destroy you.
Yeah, exactly. Just let it motivate you. Yeah. And I use those times to motivate me. Colorado Springs the next year, I kind
of remember
I had
something.
kind of had enough. Well, at Pinoca, I broke a barrier, and it was a hand-pulled barrier, and there was no way I broke the barrier. And it was just building. And then that year, the next week or 2 weeks later, was Colorado Springs. And I threw a steer fast enough to, and at this stage in our career, we know how fast, to a ballpark, how fast we were on that steer. And 4 flat was winning the rodeo, and I was about 3, 6, or 7, I thought. And I was the last man to go to win. And it was like $16,000. I mean, it was substantial, and it counted. Second place was $7,500, so it was $9,000 difference.
Which is a good week.
Yeah,
I mean that's not just a
great
one. There's
week.
not places you can win 9,000 extra.
And I was just out. I was 17th or 18th at the time, and had a chance to move up, and for my first trip. And they showed 4-2 on the scoreboard, and I lost it in the arena. They fined me. I lost my cool. One of the only times I've been mad in rodeo. But what it did was made people ask questions. And what happened was that the secretary hit the timer, and it didn't stop. She hit it again, and it stopped on 4.6. The backup timer said 3.8, and they averaged them. But the backup time was 3.8, which is what it should have been.
Right.
And when they started asking all the questions, then they found out what happened, and they ended up changing it. It's one of the very few times they've ever changed a call. But they changed it and I won first at that rodeo, and it moved me all the way to like top 5 in the world that year, and I stayed there and then I won Salinas the next week, and then it started rolling for me after that. And ever since that week, it's been way more highs than lows for me.
Right.
And and there's been plenty of lows, don't get me wrong.
Right, but I tell you, that's what I love about you is your attitude is so great.
Right.
I mean, day in, day out. And I think, you surround yourself with a lot of great people, and I think that's whatever you're doing in life, that is so important.
But Uncle Bob told me one time, and it was actually right after Red Bluff, he said, mark my words, one day you're going to have to stand up for yourself in rodeo, and you'll never have another problem.
Wow.
And honestly, since that day,
that's got to be a
I've had some
thing.
flags missed. I've had, but it's all, and I've always been respectable about it.
Right.
But, it just seems like ever since I kind of showed myself.
Put your foot down.
Put my foot down and said, I'm going to stand up for myself, and that's not right. And I had Eric Rogers was the next team roper fixing to ride in the box, and he wouldn't ride in the box until they figured it out.
He's like, fix that.
You know what I mean? And they knew it. Even the team ropers knew it. So, I just feel like once you stand up for yourself,
team ropers always get them.
It just kind of worked. Yeah. So anyways, it was, and ever since then, my career's been amazing, and I could quit tomorrow and be happy with even without my gold buckle.
Now, I tried to introduce you as a team roper, and you tried to say no. But that's how you bought your wife's ring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's hear
Cash money.
Straight cash.
Man, it was in Tunica, Mississippi. My brother's an 8+ on the hillside. And they've got me written down as like a 4. Okay? Because I don't go to team ropings. Let me take that back. They got me at a 4+ now because they bumped me after this roping. And this is 5 years ago.
I just don't know a lot of flaggers are going to be like, listen here, Will Lummus, here's the deal. You are not a 4 today, you're a 7.
Well, actually, my brother-in-law did it. Cody Warner's his name. But he told him, he said, no, he ropes pretty good, but he's not a team roper. He roped calves. I'm going to say he's a 4 or a 5. But at them 4-headers in the World Series ropings, the World Series just bulldog and start. Like, I got this. I can rope, and I know to start. And I didn't know this when I showed up, man. So anyways, he and I roped. I was a 4 even, so we roped in the 12 and the 13, and because he was an 8+, and I watched like the first 4 runs of the roping, and the guys were just nodding and just dropping the hammer, and I'm like, Ain't no way. And like missing the bear, you know they got the timer in the team ropings. They got the bear, like the timer down there, how bad you missed the bear. And I'm like, they're missing it by half a tenth. Like, they're missing it 6 inches. Like, what's going on here? So then I asked Cody, I'm like, hey, what the hell is this? And he's like, oh yeah, man. Hey, as long as the steer's going forward, you're good. I'm like, I got this. Yeah, I know I can rope the steer. So anyways, no, man, it was and we won both ropings that day. We won the 12 and the 13. And I don't remember. It was 7,000-8,000 cash or something. I just remember
Wasn't that fun?
I was rich, and at that point in my career, I hadn't made a lot of money rodeoing. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to buy this ring. I was even considering taking out a small loan to be able to buy it because I wanted to marry her. And man, when I got the cash money, I had already kind of picked the ring out and stuff. And the next day, I went and ordered it, and they said, "How much you want to put on it?" And I just put the stack of cash down. I said, "What's it cost?" And
I got the money.
And they said, "You want to pay for all of it right now?" I'm like, "Yeah, yes I do, all of it, cash. Do you have a discount?"
Oh yeah.
And anyways, yeah. So I bought it. I bought her engagement ring, team roping. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And he says he's not a team rope. Is that why you deny? Is because you won it and then you got engaged?
Well, I deny it because we did so good at those ropings and qualified to go to the World Series, and I roped the front leg on our first one.
Oh, disappointing. Heartache and heartbreak.
That was
now
like 16 or something, I think.
Hey, now you are a team roper. You know what I mean?
Well, no. After that, I was like, this event's stupid. I quit.
I'll never forget because you walked over and you were like, "Hey, let me rope the dummy real quick." And you picked my rope up, and I'm talking about sazzle on the horns. I mean, I was like, holy cow.
Was that at the NFR?
It was usually at the NFR whenever I'm walking by there with the...
Yeah. And you got the big old gigantic horns?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to rope anyway.
Trying to catch them.
Yeah. I'll take the half head. Thank you.
I'll never forget Haas. I knew Clayton Haas as a team roper. The first time I ever saw him, he is maybe high call. He's a good callback at Pendleton.
He's snappy.
And it was my first year at Pendleton, and I'll never forget because he backs up, and Haas has got the most recognizable, I'm gonna say voice, dialect.
There's a solid mumble there.
And he hits the corner, and he back up, and he said, "Let her buck," just like that. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then he just rings the barrier out, whack, spins one back, and Artis Pierce ropes the leg. Thank goodness, because I won second. I needed it, every bit of it. I needed that second place finish to miss the finals by 4,800. So that was my first impression of Haas. I didn't even know he was a bulldogger.
Oh, yeah.
He ropes so good. And all your crew, everybody's ropey. But like I said, more cowboys nowadays in every event.
Rodeo athletes.
And that's the one thing that I love you talking about is, I got to say this, though. So a couple years ago, so this is a Total Tales exclusive. So let's see here. It wasn't Jenna, though. I'm going to have to figure out the story goes.
Okay.
But it's like your brother's wife or your brother-in-law. I ride on the airport shuttle. It
was my sister and brother-in-law. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
So, but they're mentioning your name, and I know that you're engaged, right? So I don't really know how it all. I really haven't met your significant other, better half. Much too good for you, better half. However you want to introduce her. But I know that you are, right? And so we're all on this rental car shuttle, and I'm going over to get my car and come back and pick up the rest of my crew. And I hear him talking about Will. Will, and I hear Will, and I hear Lummus, right? And I'm like, oh, so I kind of start giving it the old left ear, you know what I mean? And they're talking about, well, he won't be in till whenever. You're coming in the next day. And this guy is going to the rental car counter with this lady who's there to see Will, right? And he's going to the rental car counter to get a car, and he's hauling ass. And I'm thinking,
wait a minute,
we got some stuff going down out here. And what it was your sister and your brother-in-law that he had flown to Vegas to drive back for the jackpots at Wickenburg. But I thought I was right in the middle of some stuff. I'm from Oklahoma. This is the kind of behavior we're accustomed to. And I'm like, I'm about to let Will know all about
this.
Right,
we're gonna talk about it.
I synced it. That was amazing.
Hey,
so
I ain't trying to stop us, but I do have to use the restroom.
You know what, then, Will? It's been an hour, and it's been a lovely hour.
Well, no, we're not gonna quit. I was gonna come back and talk some more.
Well, we can take a quick pause. We've been here a solid hour, and that's how long I try to hold my man.
No, you're good. I'm just hanging out, man.
Well, I really appreciate your time. One thing I talk about all the time in the Total Tales is you guys give me your time, and that is so valuable.
Well, look, we can't stop now though, because now I feel bad.
No, you're not fine. I was just fixing to go into my wrap up. You're perfectly fine, I promise. Thank you so much for everything this year. Good luck with the college rodeo coaching. Good luck at the NFR. I look forward to our Purina time on the stage.
You bet.
Be sure to check us out, Total Tales. Thanks for listening again. I've had Will Lummus all day. Don't forget to watch for your Total Tales gear going to drop right around the NFR. Thinking about moving the podcast to the finals. What do you think?
I'm in. You want to get me back? That'd be
there
fun.
we go. Round 2.
Round 2.
After the Tinkle with Will Lummus.
We can actually title it that.
I promise you.
Let's do that.
I love
It'd be
it.
so fun after the
thank
Tinkle.
you so much, Will. I appreciate all your time today. And if you ever need a haze, you just know that I'm here.
Hey, you want to win? Put Booby in.
That's right. And this has been Coleman Project with my man Will Lummus. Another version of the Total Tales. And I'm just going to remind you, don't ever miss an opportunity to make somebody's day just a little bit better. Goodbye, everybody.